Good evening. Or afternoon. We'd like to get this meeting started. This is a special meeting of the Kingman City Council held at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, June 24th, 2025. We turn some time over to our city clerk for roll call.
Mayor Watkins,
Present.
Vice Mayor Samily, she was on Zoom, so I'll watch for her to come back.
Okay.
Councilmember Dykens,
Here.
Councilmember Savage,
Here.
Councilmember Staley,
Present.
Councilmember Walker, Councilmember Ward.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I will lead us in that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Item number 1 on our agenda, the council may go into executive session for legal counsel in accordance with ARS 38-431.03A3 to discuss any agenda item. The following items may be discussed, considered, and decisions made relating thereto. Moving on to item number 2, A, public hearing, resolution number 5561, and adoption of fiscal year 2025-26 budget and capital improvements plan. The public hearing and adoption of the fiscal year 2025-26 final budget and capital improvements plan represents the last step in the formal budget process. The City Council may make additional modifications prior to adoption of the final budget, but may not increase the budget above the appropriations set in the tentative budget, which is $309,859,823. Staff recommends approval. We'll turn some time over to Tina.
Mayor Watkins, really quick, I just wanted to note that Vice Mayor Samily is with us on Zoom.
Oh, welcome, Cherish. We're glad you're here.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Vice Mayor on Zoom and Council. So as the Mayor shared in his summary, tonight is the final step in the budget adoption process for fiscal year 26, with the tentative budget being adopted earlier this month and setting the maximum appropriations at just over $309 million. Tonight, we are asking Council to hold a public hearing and ultimately consider approving resolution number 5561, which would set the appropriations at the amount of $309,859,823 and adopting a 5-year capital improvement plan as well. Before I sit down and you hold the public hearing, are there any questions or anything that I can answer at this time?
Council? Cherish, any questions for Tina? Okay.
Okay.
Hearing none, let's open this public hearing. I'd like to
Thank you,
open the
Mayor.
public hearing for resolution number 5561 and adoption of fiscal year 2025-26 budget and capital improvements plan. Actually, welcome everybody here in Council Chambers. I forgot to do that. I appreciate you all being here tonight. Mr. Robert, is it Dietz? Yes. Would you like to come up, please?
All right, so a bit nervous, but I'll try and get through this. Mayor and members of City Council, thank you for giving us this time. I'm speaking not just on behalf of myself, but for many employees across the City of Kingman Utility Division. Men and women who have committed years of keeping your water and wastewater systems running safely and without fail. We are deeply concerned about the proposed changes to our standby compensation and on-call coverage structure. The new policy would reduce our standby compensation by 63% and cut overall take-home pay by nearly 27% for some employees, many of whom rely on this income to support their families. Of equal importance is the fact that the new policy will also reduce the amount of coverage by 72%. Which is why this isn't just about pay, it's about public safety. The current standby system ensures rapid emergency response. We are trained, ready, and required by Arizona law and by city expectations to respond to critical situations within 30 minutes. This includes SCADA alarms, water main breaks, sewer overflows, pump failures. These events don't wait for business hours. If the proposed policy is enacted, The city risks losing experienced operators, delaying emergency responses, and placing undue strain on a single on-call worker expected to handle the entire system alone. That's not risky, it's dangerous. Let me be clear, this isn't about resisting change. It's about preserving the integrity of essential services. It's about preventing costly equipment failures and protecting the public. And it's about complying with labor laws and respecting longstanding agreements. Our current policy has been reviewed by third parties in the past, upheld for good reason. It's one of the most cost-effective forms of insurance for the city. We respectfully ask that the council continue with the current standby compensation policy outlined in the employee policy manual. 1 hour compensation at regular pay rate for 3 hours of standby coverage. And ensure employees remain, or 4 employees remain on after-hours coverage for water and for wastewater. This ensures minimum staffing levels are kept as previous years to respond and mitigate infrastructure and customer-related issues, and comes at a substantial lower cost than upstaffing to support a second or third shift. This policy has been in place for 30-plus years and has proven effective. Let's ensure Kingman remains a city that values both its people and its public infrastructure. Thank you for your time and listening to the voices of the workers who keep your city running. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Council, is there any questions for Robert? Okay, thank you. Because this is a public hearing, I know Robert signed in, most of you have signed in. Is there anybody else that would like to speak that basically has anything new as opposed to what Robert was just mentioning? Yes, if you'd like to come forward. And of course, please state your name.
Hi, my name is Payson Miller. I'll go ahead and pull out the thing I wrote. Mayor Watkins, Director Tim Walsh, members of City Council, thank you for your time this evening. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Payson Miller. I am an Equipment Operator B with the City of Kingman, as well as a proud Coast Guard veteran. I am not a expert public speaker, so I hope you'll bear with me as well. As I was thinking of reasons to speak last night, I realized that many concerns that I have overlap with others in my department. This cut in our paychecks is not just pocket change to us, it's an incentive to work harder and stay prepared when we wait on the phone to ring. Many hours have been spent working in the mud, fixing our aging infrastructure. Many hours have been spent away from our families. We have sacrificed our free time after working hours on weekends and holidays to keep the water and sewer systems running smoothly. Some days, many of us have skipped lunches, battled dehydration, or sustained injuries while working. We put blood, sweat, and tears into this job. Many of us rely on this money to make it during this economic hardship. Simply put, ending this current standby system for us is going to make our lives much more difficult. I humbly ask you all to reconsider your position on this. Once again, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Payson. Once again, anybody else that would like to add anything more to what we're talking about tonight? Okay, hearing none, I'd like to close this public hearing. Council, discussion? Yes, Manager Walsh, I was hoping to get some comments from you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I may, just a couple of thoughts on this. Just trying to figure out where exactly to start with it. We've been looking at this policy, and first I want to recognize the group that's here. These guys do keep our water running. They keep our sewer systems going, the treatment plants running. They do an excellent job, and they do a great job at keeping those things going, keeping our utilities going. So I want to recognize that first. As we went through the budget this year, looking at the various costs, looking at the rate increases that we've had to place on our ratepayers. Last year, it was a 26% increase on water fees. This year, starting July 1, we're going to have a 13% increase on our ratepayers, and more planned for in the future. So the idea really was to look, okay, what can we do to decrease the amount of these rate increases that we have to do every year? What areas can we find savings? What areas can we cut? What areas can we be more efficient in? And one of the things that stood out as an increasing cost to the city and to our ratepayers is the standby pay. So looking at that, we looked at what our comparable cities are doing. We looked at Bullhead, Havasu, Mojave County, number of cities throughout the state. And what we found was our standby pay is one of the most generous in the state. From all the people that we talk to, there's nobody that pays as much as we do on standby pay. So what we did was we looked at what the industry standard is, and we looked at 15 different cities. Of those 15 cities, 6 of them have what we're proposing, including Mojave County, Lake Havasu, and Bullhead. Basically, they're paying 1 hour for every weekday of standby and 2 hours for weekends. And that seems to be the norm. Of the other ones, there were, I think, 2 or 3 that don't offer standby pay, and then the rest of them have a much reduced rate, some $1.30 an hour, very, very minimal rates for that. So really that's where the decision for making this change came from, is looking at, one, what can we justify to our ratepayers as we continually go back to them for more increases, and what is the standard out there? The policy has not been implemented at this point. We're still working through that, both on our legal side and with HR to see, what changes we need to make. The budget, we did budget for that change, so there is a reduction in the budget based on that. That was approved with the temporary budget, tentative budget, 3 weeks ago. So that number with that, the proposed, where we were looking to go with standby pay is included in the tentative budget. With the adoption of the tentative budget, we don't have the ability to increase the overall cap, the overall ceiling for the budget. However, as we go through this policy and as we review it, and if changes are needed, there is the possibility of being able to look at as contingencies if we need to move some money around to address it. So at this point, my suggestion would be to continue with the budget as we have it. We'll continue to work on this issue of standby pay and what the policy is before that's actually implemented. But at this time, it's not been implemented, and we're still working out the details on that before it is. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Manager Walsh, remind us again what the fiscal impact is, or what the fiscal savings is.
If memory serves, it was a proposed, just on the water side, I think we were looking at around $300,000 for just standby pay alone. I think on the wastewater, 200, does that sound right, Tina? Right around 200,000 for standby pay for the wastewater side of things. So by making this change, we were looking at a savings about $300,000 a year by going from our current policy to the proposed policy.
Okay. So close to $500,000.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Tim. Council, any questions for Manager Walsh? Okay. Well, can we have a motion then, basically approving our budget as outlined and as Manager Walsh just explained to us also, that we keep the numbers the way they are?
So move.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Cherish, sorry about that. Okay, the motion carries. Thanks again for all the work that has been done on this, And I know in various departments, and of course, this department especially, that's why you're all here, it is a hard, sometimes can be a hard pill to swallow when we make changes. But as Manager Walsh very eloquently expressed, you know, we're trying to save our ratepayers, the whole city, also money. So we appreciate that, those comments. If there's anything else that needs to be said, council, all of you, we appreciate you being here tonight. If there's no other business, we are adjourned.